tonight, in lieu of an invocation, we're going to have a moment of silence where I ask you to think about your own spiritual views and about the meeting that we're having tonight. I'll talk a little bit more about invocations towards the end of the meeting. So let us have a moment of silence, please. Amen. So I pledge to allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first order of business is recognition of visitors and presentations. We have General Dave Stewart here from Event Factory.
Mr. Mayor, Dave went back to, Dave has gone back to our presentation, which we'd like to show. Wasn't working technology. He's gone back to get a different version of that. May we speak to this in a few minutes when he arrives? I can go through it if you prefer.
I think we can do that. We have public comments. Do we have anyone signed up for public comments? That's okay. We'll deal with it.
It'll be a long way.
That's fine. After the public comment.
Meredith Christine. Thank you very much. I'm a business owner based on Strawberry Street. I have a business, Moonrise Jewelry. I've had my business for 12 years. We've been located in the town of Cape Charles for 2.5. And I'm here to ask you to respectfully request an amendment to the town zoning ordinance regarding signage. Particularly, this would be related to signs that are classified as billboards. And this is in reference to an issue that I, as well as my neighbors on Strawberry Street, have had with the signs that we put out daily on the corner of Mason Avenue and Strawberry Street. So these are signs which are not permanent. They are put out in the morning when we open for business, and they're taken in at night when we close our doors for business. They're absolutely vital to ensuring the flow of pedestrian traffic to the businesses that are on Strawberry Street. And all of the businesses that are there are businesses that are doing well and are paying taxes to the town. And I know for a fact that if we're not allowed to continue having our signs on that corner, it will cut our foot traffic at least in half, if not more, and consequently our revenues. So I do think it would be absolutely detrimental to my business, and I imagine to my neighbors as well. So one point of clarification that I have is that this type of sign that we have, which are all sandwich board style signs, and portable, carryable by a person such as myself, are classified as billboards. And to me, that is not a billboard. It is not a permanent structure, and it is something that is small enough to be carried by one individual twice a day. So there, in the sign ordinance, there is nothing that actually classifies or gives like a size dimension of the type of sign that would be classified as a billboard. I also feel strongly that as a town, we all need to work together. The businesses are providing a valuable tax benefit, as well as just improving the quality of life for residents here in Cape Charles, as well as the tourists. So I feel that we need to do anything that we can to sort of foster that and continue to allow these businesses to be profitable and to operate in a way which is not impeding the flow of traffic. I should mention that the signs are all placed in an area which is not in the line of pedestrian traffic down the sidewalk. So no one has to walk around them to cross the street. They're not posing a hazard to pedestrians. They're not posing a hazard to street traffic whereas cars go. And in inclement weather, they generally aren't there. So I don't feel that they're hazardous in any way. They're really just a measure which allows us who are on Strawberry Street to attract foot traffic, which is really vitally important to retail in this town. So I appreciate your time, and I hope that you'll consider my comments going forward, and that you will consider an amendment to the town sign ordinance that will permit us to continue using these signs in the way that we have for the past several years. Thank you.
Good question.
Thank you for your comments.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Is this a daily thing?
Daily when the businesses are open. So, for example, I'm closed right now on Sundays. My sign is not there on Sundays.
If I could,
Is it seasonal?
I'm sorry?
Seasonal.
No, my business is open year round.
we're going to be having a public hearing on off-sign premises. It's part of the agenda if you look down further,
Oh, great, I'm sorry.
relative to the sign regulations.
the right place.
But it's fine.
Okay.
You're fine.
Thank you.
I appreciate you making the point.
Sure, and I did send a letter kind of outlining these points and others to Rob Testerman, so I don't know if he's here, maybe he is here. I haven't met him. Hi, there you are. Anyway, I guess it's a matter of public record now. Thank you.
So, next.
Suzanne Gallagher?
Good evening, afternoon, speak. My name is Suzanne Gallagher. I live in Eastville, but I have a business near Meredith on Strawberry Street, Periwinkles, Consent Street.
Hold the microphone up here.
Is that better? Okay. And I'm not going to bore you with all the same things that Meredith just said, but ditto. It is extremely vital to our business. I did sort of an unscientific study since we received the letter, excuse me, and asked people that came into my shop, what brought you in today? How did you get here? And I would say over 75% of the people said, well, we saw your sign down the corner. So without those people, without those signs, those people would not have visited our shops. So I'm also going to, I guess, request that the piece of the sign ordinance that we're in violation of be suspended until another solution can be found. I was actually in Sonoma County last week, California. I took a picture, which I probably should send everybody, of a really nice wayfinding sign, which is something that we've talked about before at our business association meetings and as a group of businesses. And yes, we have something like that, the sandwich boards that we have and the other signs are very important to getting people down to shopping stores and help the town keep costs.
Thank you very much. And if you stick around, you'll hear that we're looking at a public hearing on suspending a portion of the sign.
Do we know the date for that yet?
Well, it is not yet.
Okay.
We're going to do it as soon as we can, but we need to give notice. We have to have a public hearing. We have to give notice. So we're going to try to move it forward as fast as we
Call
can.
tracking person for position.
Okay.
I have to stay and listen.
Great, thank you very much.
Well, or you can have someone else tell you.
Take it.
Any others? No other public comment? Thank you very much. Hearing no further public comment, I will move forward to, or backward rather, to the eventacular presentation.
Yes,
Joan, can
Thank
you
you.
help us now?
sure can. Thank you very much for accommodating us. I'm Joan Prescott, I'm president of Eastern Shore Eventacular, Inc. I'm here tonight with Dave Stewart to make a report to you on the success again this year of fall ships at Cape Charles. By way of prefacing our brief report to you, I would like to tell you two things. The first is that we just received notice from the Internal Revenue Service that we have been designated a 501c3 tax-exempt organization. This has been a long struggle, and we're really elated with it because it will help us considerably with our fundraising, and it will allow us to apply for grants from organizations who only give funding to 501c3 programs. We're very excited about that. I also would like to point out for anyone who doesn't already know as members of council that Eventacular, the organization, was founded by a group of other organizations, of which Cape Charles is one. And we have 2 delegates to our board and have had and will continue to have going forward. We are very grateful for the town's support. We feel that we are bringing back a great return to the town for the dollars that you have invested with us. Without then any further preface, I'll introduce Dave Stewart, who is the Executive Director and Chairman of Tall Ships at Cape Charles.
Thank you very much. Good seeing everyone here again this evening. It's good to be back for a third year to kind of give you some feedback with respect to this event that we hold every June. And you'll be able to thank you very much. We've got it displayed, it was all about logistics. I had a PDF on here, that wouldn't work, so we got PowerPoint, so we'll make house count. Very quickly overview, as you all know, we had three tall ships pull into the harbor this year for their junior event. Two of them came in early, around Tuesday and Wednesday of the month, or the weekend prior, and that was the Kalmar Nickel and the Privateer Lynx. The Serenity showed up on Saturday and provided day sales both those days. What has been fortunate for us, and I think for the harbor with respect to our tall ships coming in, that they always have intended to come in at least 2 to 3, if not 4 days prior to the cruise to simply like this little town as much as the visitors and the tourists see our locals come here. We had this year the Pirate and Reenactor School, both Saturdays and Sundays, which was something that CCP did last year, if you recall, down on Strawberry Street. And that was added to this venue as well this year. We incorporated that into our venues. Certainly the youth activities, educational tours aboard Kalmar Nickel. I think we can build upon that success for next year. Cape Charles Yacht Club, if I can put a plug in there, sponsored the kids to go aboard that vessel for an hour. This year we've upped it almost by 100%, or at least 50% to 75%, with having 7 food vendors, 8 nonprofit organizations, and 31 craft vendors, along with 10 bands. If you were there, you know, we created kind of a quasi-food court this year, which put everybody in a similar location. As a comparison, in 2012, for OpSale 2012, when we were affiliate port, we had barely over 20 vendors, which we felt was pretty good for the year. And we've almost done with that. Thank you. With respect to the marketing, Joan Prescott always does a wonderful job with the PR experience. And the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, once again this year, handed out 100,000 flyers at the northbound tolls, starting on the weekends prior, Memorial Day weekend. For anyone who doesn't have Easy Pass but wants to pay by good old cash, they get like a little coupon, it's like a little Coca-Cola thing you used to get for the grill there. Rack cards and posters were sprinkled literally up and down both Northampton and Accomack counties. Our website was revised this year. And what I mean by multifunctional use is this year the ships were asked to provide their own ticketing. That was something that we did for 2 years. It's something that it takes a lot of time and energy. We don't have a staff. And so we put that on the ships. They had no problem with it. Most of them had a ticketing process anyway. And we worked it where they would keep the revenues. If they would do it, we would do the marketing. So in this case, we provided a hyperlink into their ticketing process, and it made it run a lot smoother. For those who don't know, we have to provide a crew manifest or a passenger manifest for the Coast Guard. Each skipper has to carry aboard the boat. It has to have contact, emergency information, shorebound, that kind of thing. So this kind of relieved us, if you will, and moved over to the vessel. Certainly we had weekly news releases with the Daily Times, Gannett Press, some radio spots and so forth. This year, over the 2-day event, we had a little bit over 5,000 by head count and some parking estimates. Essentially, we were running about 2,500 per day. Going back to OpSale 2012, we had somewhere between 75 and 9,000, if you remember. Last year, we had a little over 7,000. So projections of about 2,500 per day seem to be sticking fairly well. City reports the town harbor was full. The in-town B&Bs were full. Campgrounds nearly full, and the shops and restaurants in town anecdotally reported excellent business in that period. Operations. Day sales were booked by each vessel for the 4 days, as I indicated. Each deck, we had deck tours on Saturday and Sunday. each lasting 6 hours. That was one of our requirements. We sold tickets this year at $5 a piece for an adult, $3 for a child. We had a little over $5,000 in that. We had over 2,000 people tour the decks for both Saturday and Sunday. As I mentioned earlier, we had a food court that was created. We lined the band roughly on the side, and we put our food vendors inside the fenced area, net really control, plus with the 3 tents we had up there, really basically a nice environment, got folks out of the sun. At first I was a little bit nervous on Saturday because I wasn't seeing the parking at the Bay Coast Railroad property as we normally do. A real close inspection, as I looked down Mason Avenue and then over by the shanty, I realized the parking was far more dispersed than it has been in the past years. All of our side streets seem to be full of parking as well. So not as many folks took advantage of Bay Coast Railroad stuff being in the middle. They dispersed themselves, which I think economically is wonderful for this town because they were all over the place and that when you're visiting the shops, the venue, and our restaurants at the same time. We also utilized more square footage on the Bay Coast Railroad this year. We had car rides, we had pony rides, so we've actually incorporated a lot more real estate than we had in the past. What I want to do briefly is just turn it over to our esteemed harbor master, Sandy Guys, who has some information based upon the harbor with respect to this meeting.
Dave, some of the councilmen and myself might have some questions. Will you come back?
Yes, I'm going to come up and just do a wrap up.
Okay, we'll ask you that.
And then I'll be happy to entertain you.
Dave asked me to talk about the numbers I provided him with the Florida Harbor. These numbers are based on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Any events we have in town that pretty much affects those 3 days for us. As you can see on your what I did is spread out before you just started back before tall ships, the op sales, so you can see what we had prior to the event. We had our floating docks normally in that year, and I carried it through until this year. We did spike our docking nights. We had 86 nights stock in 2012, but that was because of a big push. It was the first year, and we were part of op sale Virginia. It tapered off 66 last year and popped back up to 68 this year. Our docking dollars, we went again in 2012 with more because it was a longer period, the event was a longer period. We just had more boats in for that weekend. Again, for increasing for 2 boats, our dollars went up about $500 for 2 boats, which tells me the boat was a little bit bigger than the previous year. The fuel gallon was just inflated in 2012. Then it dropped in 2013, and then it cut back up in 2014. That kind of tells me that we had more sailboats in 2013 because the boats was here. We just didn't have any fuel sales. Which, that's hit or miss on our end. Of course, you got the fuel dollars, which is almost as comparable to what it was in 2012. So everything kind of come back up on our end.
Maybe if you can go, this is really other town's information. I may not be able to speak about the numbers, but I pulled out some of the select taxes for this month each year. And for the business, you notice that blue is June, the gray is 2012, I'm sorry, blue is 2014. You'll notice that the business license tax has improved slightly over the time period of 3 years. Certainly your transit tax has continued up in swing, and our meals tax has made a significant improvement over this 3-year period. I suspect because of some of the harbor operations. Observations. Third year suggests that this event is starting to get a foothold in the town with our visitors, crafters, and the boating community. Certainly just a couple of weeks ago, Smitty had well over 50 boats, 60 boats here in the harbor after Labor Day weekend. So this is the destination. It certainly is a boater myself, someone who's involved in the maritime community. Cape Charles is really starting to get a pretty good name for itself in the lower Chesapeake Bay, down in the upper. I would also say that better business community and organization is occurring. In other words, we've got more support, I think, going on now than the first year when we were looked at as is this just a business kind of thing. Now the organizations are stepping up and we're seeing a lot more community involvement with this kind of thing. I think overall holds promise for the Cape Charles and the county as its popularity continues to spread. Plans underway for the 4th annual Tall Ships at Cape Charles. Right now we're looking at June 13th and 14th. We're discussing now several new venues that will be scheduled to involve family events. And certainly an appreciation, many thanks go out to the Bay Coast Railroad. Larry Levon has been very generous with the use of his land every year for us. Certainly I want to thank Smitty and his crew, because without that harbor and someone like he's done there, inviting others here, we wouldn't have the venue that we do. Public Works, Pete is guy smiling for me. He does a lot of work, and there's nothing that he won't accomplish to get this put together for us. And we certainly appreciate the chief policeman crew as well as the county sheriff's office, EMS personnel that always show up. Not to mention Ron West in the back, who's a Coast Guard supervisor. So I think this year, as Joe said, it turned out to be a successful event. Certainly I hope the businesses felt the economic impact, and I certainly think we have the correct foot forward here with respect to this kind of venue and what we're providing for folks who come across the Eastern Shore and see what we can offer in that particular. I'll certainly be happy to entertain any questions that you may have.
Anyone have any questions?
It's impressive, really.
Thank you. Well, I think, certainly efforts like the town and county will make this happen.
Oh, I have a question. Mr. Prescott mentioned there's 2 local members from Cape Charles community on the board.
There is.
Could you say who they are so people would know if they've seen these people?
One is your mayor.
Well, not anymore.
Not anymore. And Jen, I think is Jen Lewis. Has been kind of ad hoc. Heather Arcos at one time used to show up. Those are the 2 representatives. Right now, Joe, I don't think we.
And Councilman
Certainly Joe's out in the balance, yeah.
Very cool. The 2 representatives from the Business Association, 2 representatives from the town government, and
Outlying areas like Sheridan, go ahead.
Well, the founding members included the town, the Business Association, Bay Creek, and Northampton County Chamber of Commerce. Don't we have anybody else? And we have since enlarged our board to be even more representative of the greater community and of Northampton County. The county does support us financially, and so we are bringing members on to the board and have brought members on representing each of the incorporated townships as well as the unincorporated area of the county. We want to grow. We're an all-volunteer organization. It takes a lot of manpower to bring these festivals to fruition. We also produce, coming up in just a couple of weeks, with the Eastern Shore Birding and Wildlife Festival. It's our fond desire to grow that festival. We believe it has tremendous capability, tremendous potential, and it needed a lot of marketing. We're doing that now, and I think that we'll be able to report a very successful festival. That is headquartered here in Cape Charles, so the town does receive the benefit of spending from most of the people who attend. We have field trips and events up and down the entire peninsula, all the way from Chincoteague down to Kippsburg. Anything else?
steal our nervous system for budget time? We're going to hear from you then.
Absolutely.
Okay, just checking.
Yes, sir.
And then we'll be asking you what you've done for us lately. Thank you very much. Tall Ships was a wonderful event. We appreciate it. I'm assuming there are no more questions, correct? Let's go on to the consent agenda. I would like to make one small change to that to allow Jen to go first. She has some things going on. Is everyone okay with that? No problem with that? So, if there are no objections to the agenda as I've amended it, any objections? Hearing no objections, the agenda will go forward without by unanimous consent. Jen? Oh, I beg your pardon. I apologize. We need to approve the minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes? Any objections? Hearing no objections, the minutes are approved by unanimous consent. And now we'll do the agenda. Sorry, I was trying to get you out of your machine.
Oh, you're fine. I got some stuff. I just wanted to give you guys, Libby, Amanda, and myself, as well as Heather, before she left, at the 171 and Bob, now he's here, have been working on a user facility for this civic center. And we've been trying to work out hours for public use organizations and such things. So I've shared with each of you a copy. If you have any suggestions or comments, you can share with Libby or myself. We'd be happy to take them into consideration. We're trying to provide hours for public use without taxing our employees too much, because we do feel somebody needs to be here to let people in, because it's a lot of back and we need that kind of thing.
Have you thought that through yet?
Yes, the hours on here.
Yes. But the people that are on the house are working.
We've worked it out, Mondays are 9 to 5, so I believe I have something at 5, so I would be here to relieve whoever may to make sure it's locked up, and I'm here Monday, and if I'm not, Libby is, and if Libby's not, Amanda is, so we're covered. And then Wednesdays, I have a program ending around 4:45, so I will be here to let them in and then show them how to lock up, and then we'll check the next morning just to make sure
Yeah.
damage or anything.
You have to speak a little louder, please.
Sorry. And then Fridays, 12 to 9, well, again, I'll be here until 5, and if not me, then Libby and Amanda, and we'll again show people how to let themselves out and then shut down. And if that doesn't work, we'll go back to the drawing board. We'll give it a try. Got to start somewhere. Any other
We do.
questions?
Because people are asking.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I mean, they were asking 6 months ago. I mean, there's not a lot of places in town here in the winter with the hotel closing and different places where people depend on meeting now, so it is a little harder than we would find locations, so it's a good solution.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Treasurer's report is the next.
I'm here in place of Deborah Wilcox, our treasurer, who's had a family matter, and she had to be away this week. I take it everybody's got the report in their packet. I'm sorry, this document here. The total cash on hand, and these balances are as of August 31st. The total cash on hand is $998,750. We also have reserve cash balances there of $1,366,105. So the total cash, the combination there is $2,364,000. Other than just operating expenses to reduce the cash, and the additions are mainly due to interest that accrues on the account. We also transferred $42,400 from the operating account down to the Shore Bank facility fees there. That's the $42,400. Our next debt service payment is on the 2011 Dodge Charger. It's the final payment. We'll be making that payment on September 26th. in the amount of $6,429. Credit card fees, sort of a statistic that George and I had talked about before. The fees as a percentage of collections is 3.12%. The year to date is a little over 3%. Page 2, which is the following page, shows the fund balances for the year. The general fund, obviously we're running in a deficit of $103,000, but it's nothing, it's an unusual pattern for this time of year. Obviously that improves as we go into our season collecting personal property taxes as well as real estate taxes.
I mean, it's an unusual pattern.
It's an unusual, it's right, the 103 is unusual. This time, it's just a timing difference. Again, that will improve when the collections come in for real estate as well as personal property tax. And all the other funds there are positive. The next schedule is our capital improvements for fiscal year 2015. We started on July 1st. In the month of August, we expended the $7,995 for the Keck Wells engineering and construction there, as well as the $1,273. Everything else that was listed was there in July. And the final page, again, has some statistics. This is not the final page. This shows that we collected 94% of the total bill for real estate taxes, as well as 79% of what we bill in personal property taxes. And the final page is a 3-year revenue comparison that compares fiscal year 13, 14, and our current year, fiscal year 15. Have a note here that the meals tax appears to maybe show a decrease. One restaurant, and I don't know who it was, but they paid their months of March through June in July of 2013. Well, July of 2013 is causing our fiscal year 14 to appear overstated. So it's just a matter, again, of timing there. And the transient occupancy tax looks a little low as well. I did some research, and there's 2 businesses, larger businesses in town that had not remitted their payments for the month of June. I've contacted them. One was just in yesterday. We've written a letter to another. So that's the reason for the slight deficit there. Any questions?
I have a question.
Questions?
On the capital improvements tracking report, and I know it's not, you report, but the information comes from other people.
Sure.
I'd like to see a column on there that projects when these things are going to start. As it is now, I don't know, what's going on and what we're working on and when we intend for it to happen. Most of them involve a contract award, and we would have to be working. We should have some date that we are shooting for. So I'd like to see a column added with a projected start date for each of those.
Sure. We'll make that change for this year, but we can see that next time.
When you hear that there's a personal property is only 79%, I think the people out there think it's many thousands of dollars. It's $30,000, $31,000. 94% of the real estate tax is $62,700. Now, do we do anything extra to push the either one, personal property or the...
You mean as far as accelerating?
Yes, yeah.
Well, real estate taxes as well as personal property taxes. The bills for the personal property taxes, unfortunately, the bill that we will be receiving this year will just show the personal property tax amount for 2014. The balance is not carried forward. So what we've been doing twice a year, and we might be able to step that up. We always reprint the bills for 2013 that we printed last year. We send reminder notices, copies of those. This is what you're saying. And same with real estate taxes. I think we've done that twice since last December.
So these are accounts that are in arrears.
I'm
These
sorry.
are accounts that are in arrears.
Yes.
$95,000 approximately.
Yep.
Right. This is plus the code.
I know Debbie and yourself have been working on getting these collections. We may need to decide how to do that going forward to get a little more aggressive in getting some of that tax, the back taxes. The other thing I'm sorry, we finished, Chris? The other thing I noticed is that when I look at the transient occupancy tax, it looks like it's dropped from year to year to year. So the one thing that you did mention, I understand that, but it looks like 2013 is less, fiscal year 14 is less than 13, fiscal year 15 is less than 14. Do you have any thoughts on
I don't
that?
have any, I can find out for you and get back to you.
Like you mentioned, the timing on it, how about we put that in and then see what the
Yeah, that sounds fine. That sounds good.
And right now,
It may make that trend go away.
Right, well, they were a couple of the larger businesses, I'm not going to name them, but that are in arrears.
All right.
Yeah.
We don't need to break that up.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you. Planning Commission and boards?
We need to make a motion.
Oh, we do. I beg your pardon. We
Make
need
a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
I mean, not the minutes, the treasurer's report.
Second.
Are there any objections? Hearing no objections, the treasurer's report is accepted as presented.
All right, just to update the monthly report that's in the packet. I heard from the Army Corps of Engineers today, the project for cleaning up the upland disposal site that's going to be going out to bid next week. The comprehensive planning meeting for September has been canceled. Elaine Neal at the PDC had some issues and was able to make it for this one. The floodplain ordinance that has been sent off to the Department of Conservation and Recreation. I touched base with them. They should be able to get that reviewed next week and get their feedback back to us so we can hopefully get that adopted within the next month or two, depending on how many comments they might have on it. And for the tourism zone, I've been starting to work up draft language for that. I've been in a couple of conversations with the Virginia Tourism Corporation to get some suggestions, some study places to work on incentives and requirements for the qualifying businesses. The Historic Review Board, they met Tuesday night, approved both applications, one for renovation and one for a new home on Jefferson. And we will be meeting in October. We'll get an application in for renovation on Madison, and we'll possibly have an application for another new home in the historic district.
Any questions?
I have one. The first bullet, there's no new information on Harbor Access Road. Is that because they're not doing anything, or is it because they just haven't said anything?
We just haven't gotten anything new from VDOT. I doubt that it's the case that they're not doing anything. The last I heard, I think they were, I believe I reported last month, they were looking at two different options on how much right of way to take and how many lanes they're going to make it. So I think they were finalizing which way they're going with that and moving forward with that. As soon as I hear anything back,
They are moving forward. We get, what I recall, relatively minor inquiries, for example. They want a copy of the light plan, so that they can plan with the shoulders and that type of thing. So they are doing staffing, no major milestone changes.
So bullet point number 2, when is the proposed dredging project? Is it at a time? That's it?
Some time frame, that was listed in last month's report. I believe it's in the spring, they're supposed to start, and we're hoping to finish up by early summer. But, I'll double check, but it's in last month's packet.
Any other questions? Thank you, Rob. Code enforcement.
The only thing I have to add to my report is the economic development director for the county from time to time pulls numbers together for the planning commission on construction activity. And through the first 8 months of this year versus the first 8 months of last year, the town of Cape Charles is up 183% in building valuation, which means dollars that are, contractors paid to perform work. Last year, it was about 2.1 million. This year, we're already at 6.1 million. So it kind of gives you an overview of, where the construction is going on. The county is down about 39% for the year from last year. So I'd be glad to just pass this around. I should have made several copies, but
Is that a calendar year?
calendar year, yeah. And it's all in millions of dollars. We didn't do all the zeros. That's all I have, unless council has any questions for me.
It's safe to say that we're the goose that's laying the golden.
I'm not going to say that, but I'll say it a little bit.
That's good.
Yeah.
Most of the construction is Bay Creek, or is it some of the town?
It's scattered, Bay Creek, the marina. We have 2 homes under construction in the old town, with another one to start within a month. And then a lot of renovations.
Super.
Yeah.
Any questions? Thank you very much. Town Harbor.
I just got a couple corrections in the position. It's not in our report, we put out our fuel services, we put that out to bid in last week's paper. We do that, we review it every year. It's on a year-to-year basis. Last time we put that in bid was 2010.
Bend see if that helps.
Last time we put out a bid was 2010. This was the final year of the contract, so we put out a bid and we'll be receiving bids October 3rd, and we'll be opening up to the public and bring it to council with their recommendations after that. A couple other things, the Belle Galleon and the Lucio, in my report said that we were working on trying to get her here. Well, she's coming, she's gone, and she's come back again. It won't be this year, but we're hoping that she may come back next year. It was reported that they have between 100 and 150 attendees a day working here, except for the Sunday when closed down because of rain. There was a lot more foot traffic than that just come and just saw her. It was pretty impressive. That's about it.
I was at the shanty yesterday spending my money in local taxes because the food taxes are down. And there's a music festival that's going to be.
Yes, sorry about that. We've got the State Music Festival in the parking lot. That's put on by Shanty. It'll be next Saturday, 27th. We've got 8 or 10 bands that will be playing all day until by 10 o'clock that night. So it's, I think it's expecting anywhere between 500 to 700 people at this time, which is lower than the expectations.
Is there any admission fee? I not heard.
It's online. If you buy your tickets online, I think it's $15. I think you charge $20 to get.
Thank you very much. Let's see. Library. I don't see. And we're just going to pass on that. The report is in the minutes. Chief Cook.
Jake completed his field training, so he's on his own now. And we hired another person starts Mondays. We've done a few more things this month, but I'll put them in the report.
Where you hired?
Training, Tommy Cox.
Tommy Fox,
Yes.
County.
He used to work Exmoor. And I works for Eastboro, but during 20 years here, help me out.
All right. Anything else to mention?
No, we've done some training this month,
Yeah.
and I'll add that on to
I know that you need to go through
I'll
this.
give you a blank report next month.
All right. Any questions? Thank you very much. Public utilities and public works.
I don't have anything to add to my report, but I'd like to answer any questions. So,
The utilities report, it's interesting that the water production was exceeded by the wastewater amount, which I think is kind of reverse of what it normally should be.
no, generally the wastewater is about 75% of the water production.
Right, and this month it was higher than the water production. It's 200,000 gallons more, 250,000 gallons.
It would have to do with rainfall, right? It would be, yeah.
Still high.
Which we're still working on, and we've been looking in,
What'd you tell me about those manholes?
Right, we were, after the heavy rain we had last week, we went, and we looked at Harbor Avenue and Pine Street, and the other streets, it crosses streets down in that area, those manholes in that area. And we looked at about 20 manholes, and of those 20, we only found about 5 that had infiltration coming into the manhole itself from the walls of the manhole. So that was pretty promising. I was kind of surprised at that. The ones that we saw were pretty good leaks, so we get those patched up and we'll be in good shape. We went back out today. I guess it was either Monday or Tuesday. We went back out. We started by going back to the manholes that we'd seen the infiltration, and it wasn't really coming in the way it was before, right after the rain. So we didn't proceed with the investigation. We felt like we wouldn't get a real good read on evidently the pressure was starting to let up a little bit, so we would go on. But we will be going back out, we get some big rain, we'll be going back out and investigating this.
And thanks for your capital projects update, the way you've got it laid out, and all of everything that's going on. I really appreciate that. I've given you a hard time in the past about not having any information. You've got a good amount of information. I just wanted to compliment you on that. Thanks.
I'll keep you posted.
When do you expect the manhole project to commence? I mean, you're studying which ones are the worst.
I would predict that we'll be into that in October, November. We'll be starting on manholes. I think at this point, probably what we'll do is bring in some different companies and let them give us a sample of what their product will do on the manholes that we identify as being issues, and the product that we deem to be the most suitable we'll move forward with.
Any other questions?
I want to thank you for the people you sent me from the flood work on Monroe. The car got totaled, and they stayed with me for 2 minutes. It was very nice.
It's all part of the airport.
It's all part of it.
It's all part of it. Thank you. That concludes the department reports. Next, we have some old business to take care of. The first item is the PSA Regional Wastewater Treatment Resolution on Negotiation and Processing Agreement. Bob, you want to take us through that?
Sure. Up on the nice, there is a replacement motion. There's one thing in the package, there's a replacement line It says revised number 7A at the top. The only difference between what is in the packet and this one is that we elaborated a bit more on goal 4A. In conversation with Mayor Proto to strengthen that up a bit. So that will be the motion that we'll be considering this evening. We won't go through all the background of this because I'm sure you recall everything that was discussed last Thursday evening. And what I've tried to do is encapsulate in the motion the consensus that we reached at the last work session last Thursday. And I haven't received any comments since the packet was distributed, so I guess we're close. So with that, we're going to, staff recommends that you consider the attached motion to move forward empowering the two Cape Charles representatives to the PSA subcommittee to start negotiating an agreement with the PSA and the county.
So moved.
Second. All right. Open it for discussion.
Yes, I have a question. Has there been any cost revisions to the project?
I'm sorry?
Has there been any cost revisions to the proposed project?
Yeah, we had a PSA board meeting this past Tuesday, and the engineers are at 40% design phase, and they've re-estimated it from, at this point, 1.8 to 2.7 million.
Any other questions? My understanding is that this is to be used as guidelines for the negotiating committee. Frankly, if you can do better, that would be great. But I really don't have any other comments on this. So if there's no further discussion.
If it went from 1.8 to 2.7, is there some big reason for that?
Not that we know. The PSA board is continuing discussions with the engineering firm to find out what the source of the increase is.
Okay, so you don't know yet, but you back up.
Yes, we have.
Any further questions or comments? This is a roll call vote. I believe I will start with Mr. Bannon.
Yes.
Gavin, yes.
Natalia, yes.
Bennett, yes.
Brandon, yes.
Wendell, no.
The motion is carried. Next order of business, Cape Charles Multi-Use Trail Project update.
Okay, this one is both a status report on the project as well as a small action item. We are moving ahead with VDOT. We're getting close. We're down to they're requiring a final check of the threatened and endangered species, which I find kind of odd because we'll have too many eagles nesting on Beach Street. But that's what we have to do. And that requires access to 3 different agency databases. Land Studio, who's our design firm, does not have that capability. They need to subcontract with a consultant to do that. They've negotiated a not to exceed subcontract for $2,000 to do that. We will need to amend their contract to take the final step. That is the final step, except for a couple of minor changes to some notations on the drawings. They have a projected date for bidding out the construction project of December 1st, which is way later than we had originally anticipated, but working with VDOT is not the most exciting and fun thing. So that's where we are. And of course, there's about $1.5, $1.6 million in our budget for this project. proceed with the project, we're recommending a motion to authorize a change order to the land studio contract to do that final piece of work.
I'll make a motion that we accept the,
Second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on this?
No, I just find it interesting that they waited until the 100% design documentation was submitted before they decided that they needed this.
Is this the first time you've ever requested? I can never remember them requesting one before.
Nor can I. And when we found out that that was the case, we went back and said, hey, we've got a categorical exclusion on this project, and basically we told us tough.
They told us tough, or we were told tough because of VDOT?
VDOT told us that.
VDOT.
Yeah, not the design. VDOT.
And should these guys have known this from the get-go?
VDOT?
No, from land.
No, I don't think so, because they were under the impression that with the categorical exclusion, we would not have to go through this.
Yeah, that meant we were excluded.
Right.
Can I just ask one? May I ask the people out there, how many people know what we're talking about here about the multi-use trail? Who knows? Put your hand up. Give a quick one, Bob, real quick, what the whole, you know.
Okay, on the website, there's a master trail plan that was adopted by council in 2007. The first phase is, you see it in Central Park, on the perimeter trail in Central Park, and there's a trail going out to Peach Street. Basically, it's a 10-foot sidewalk, but it is available for use for any non-motorized vehicles, including skateboards, bicycles, whatever. No golf carts.
No golf carts.
And this is brought to you by a federal program called, first it was called Transportation Enhancement Act for the 21st Century. That's the Transportation Alternatives Program. The federal government picks up 80% of the cost of construction of these trails. And what's planned is have push out North Peach Street on both sides with a complete realignment and regrading of North Peach Street with storm sewers, as well as a 10-foot median down the center. If you want to buy property on North Peach, jump on it. And then connecting to Washington Avenue, the north side of Washington Avenue, the trail will connect to the concrete boardwalk, as well as the existing wide trail into Marina Villages.
So from Fig Street to the beach.
Fig Street to the beach. And will also be at the corner of Fig and Bay. We'll be hardening the corner there with additional riprap that underwent severe erosion through a couple of the nor'easters, and creating a little very, very small plaza there with parking so that people can unload kayaks and that sort of thing. If anybody's interested, the design documents are available for viewing in the town hall.
The town owns the beach up to where? To the breakwater? At the corner of Bay and Washington?
Actually, the town doesn't. Mr. Schlegel owns it. About
the beach. I'm talking about the beach.
Mr. Schlegel owns that portion of the beach up to the riprap, and actually on both sides, he owns about 50 feet to the south. And we have gotten this easement for him to construct the riprap on his property.
Okay, so if there's any further questions, discussion? All right, this requires, this does not require a roll call vote. So hearing no objections, this passes by unanimous consent. Wait for this. Wait, so everyone wait. When I was a kid, I used to put caps under a hammer. Wait, that's over there. The next item is town code facilities fees. So, Bob, can I take us through that?
This is obviously what the public hearing was about this evening. Your package has several attachments. The first attachment you saw previously on the slide is a comparison of the commercial facility fees for different sorts of businesses under the current formula and the proposed formula. At the last meeting, council also requested a comparison of what they would be if we used alternative discount factors in the formula. That is the next attachment in your package. 4 columns, current formula proposed, which has a discount factor of 25%, one alternative having a discount factor of 40%, and the alternative 2, a discount factor of 50%. So you can see as you progress down the columns, the fee obviously gets smaller, and the minimum of $5,300 kicks in for a greater number of types of businesses. And the most dramatic effect, of course, is on high volume users. A 50-seat restaurant under the proposed formula would drop from $31,800 down to $21,200 at a 50% discount. And a hotel from $286,200 to $190,800 at a 50% discount. So those are alternative calculations, and we didn't get any comments at the public hearing that we had this evening, so our recommendation is to consider the proposed ordinance as well as the alternate calculations. You could adopt one of the alternate calculations because the fees are lower than anticipated. You couldn't adopt the formula raising it, but you could adopt the formula with less financial impact.
Is it necessary for me to read this ordinance? I don't think so. You all can read it. So I will enter.
You still need a motion from council before you do this.
That's what I'm going to read. I got it. So I'll entertain a motion for ordinance 20140918, revising water and sewer connection charges as noticed and forego reading of the ordinance.
You still need a motion from council and a second to adopt the resolution before you go there.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the ordinance 20140918 as presented by the town manager.
Is there a second? Okay, is there any discussion? All right, since there's no discussion, I'll call for a roll call vote.
Danny, yes. Griffin, yes.
Nadella, yes.
Bennett, yes.
Brian, yes.
Wendell, yes.
Motion is carried. Do a little salt. The next order of business is new business. And this is Constitution Week proclamation.
To my surprise, the Constitution was adopted in 1787 yesterday. And every week every year we do adopt a proclamation for Constitution Week. So that is what's before you tonight, the proclamation proclaiming September 17th to September 23rd is Constitution Week in the town of Cape Charles.
So I'll entertain a motion. The motion, second. Is there any discussion on this? I think we all support the Constitution. I think it's one of the most wonderful documents ever written. We'll have a roll call vote on this. I'll start with Mr. Godwin.
Yes.
Natalie, yes.
Miller, yes.
Byron, yes.
And yes.
Brandon, yes.
And the motion is carried. And the next order of business is the backyard chicken ordinance. We need to schedule a public. Oh, I'm sorry. The off-premises sign regulation.
As I've already heard a little bit about tonight, the current sign regulations that are in place, they, by definition, they classify any off-premises sign as a billboard, and that includes small single board type signs, like are used at the corner of Mason and Strawberry, for the businesses on Strawberry Street. The sign regulations, when they were in place, they certainly didn't have the intention of putting any kind of hardship on some of the small businesses in town that rely on foot traffic from visitors who might not necessarily know that their shops exist otherwise. Previously, the town has had discussions about installing some kind of a wayfinding sign directing pedestrians down the side streets of the businesses. So staff is going to pick that back up and see what we can work out to try to get something in place that would take care of that. Until that happens, the sign regulations are still saying that these small sandwich boards are a violation. So in order to kind of meet both needs, have the wayfinding sign temporarily in place as a sandwich board sign and not negatively affect the businesses on the side streets, we're recommending scheduling a public hearing to consider suspending a portion of the sign regulations until such a time that either a permanent wayfinding sign is put in place or the sign regulations are amended, whichever would come first. The temporary suspension would have a couple of requirements. I've got it listed here. It would be limited to 10 square feet in the area, which is the same size limit that is put in place on the sandwich boards that are allowed through the sign regulations. Signage located no more than 160 feet from the advertised business. I put that in place because that was kind of the midpoint between Randolph and Mason. That was keep it to people putting them on the corners there rather than having signs just placed anywhere through town. I think that was probably the intention of one of the multi billboards is so we don't, as you drive to Shinty, you go across the causeway seeing sign after sign after sign, and I don't think that's what the town wants. And then the last one is that the sign is moved at the end of each business day, so there's a portable one that can be taken in and out. Again, tonight we're just asking to schedule a public hearing. I guess we have a couple of simple questions we can get into, but more of the detail will come at the public hearing.
I have a question.
We have a motion first.
We're not taking any action other than to do the public hearings. This summer, I was going to ask you about 160 feet. It sounds to me like 160 feet still provides a hardship for a business that is more than halfway from Mason Avenue. And I understood, at least the two people that spoke said that they wanted to put a sign on Mason Avenue because that's where all the traffic is.
Right.
So I don't think we should.
Sure, I mixed that up when I was counting on the distance. I can revise that before we advertise for the public hearing.
I mean, you might want to put a limit on the number of signs they can have out rather than, a distance.
Okay.
Or something. But yeah, the whole reason we're doing it is so they can get to Mason Avenue.
Right. That was just a miss on my part.
I would say definitely let them put the signs out. Even put signs out on Randolph if you had to. I mean, until you come up with something that, other than neon or electric signs, but they really need that. It's going to pass. Just come up with the best thing you can find. that's reasonable.
I would like to make a motion to suspend it, but subject to the wayfaring sign. Suspend the.
We need to have a public hearing before we can do that. So the purpose of this is for council to approve having a public hearing. So you could make a motion that we have a public hearing.
So in the meantime, that doesn't give them any need to leave.
Jimmy's not arrested.
How soon can we have a public hearing, and how soon can we?
Public hearings require 2 weeks advertising.
So it's about, with the time deadlines for the advertisements, takes about 3 weeks.
So practically, it could be next month's meeting.
Yeah, next month's meeting we can do it.
I don't think there's a big issue, Ms. Godwin, on the sandwich signs, because they're actually a benefit. So it's not a matter of whether the town's going to enforce those signs in the next 2 weeks or not. I don't think that's an issue.
Well, it's come up as, you know, we've run into a couple of issues with the off-premise signs, and, you know, as zoning administrator, you have to enforce them consistently and fairly, and when a complaint has been received, you gotta.
When you receive a complaint, how much time do they have to rectify the complaint?
The ordinance.
I mean, if they're taking them in every day, which day do you base your complaint taken on?
Well, the sign regulations does have something in there that says, I forget exactly how it's worded, but repeat offenses, the town is authorized to just pull them. But, you know, we haven't gone that route. I issued letters and gave, I think it was 10 days notice and, or 10 days to fix the issue. I've been lenient in all of these issues that have, the sign violations that have come up, and given extra time and issued, additional letters and been in correspondence. And I'm not trying to go in with an iron fist and say, take this out now. I'm working with people.
The planner and zoning administrator is very busy, and he'll move at deliberate speed.
All of it. Move it as fast as you can. We have a special meeting.
Well, he's talking about.
I'm going to make a motion to set a public hearing on this for the October regular meeting.
Got a second?
Second.
I have a question for Rob. Well, in the statement, I don't see any problem with them, and I understand the benefits, far outweigh, any prohibition. However, I also aware, as you ride up and down Mason Avenue, you have other businesses, restaurants and so forth, that want to use the same kind of sign for daily specials and or other information. So, I feel confident that those folks are going to petition the town at some point or another for the same privilege. I just didn't want to anticipate that.
Yeah, all the sign regulations say that every store can have similar boards in front of their store. It's where it's off premises where it's running into the issue. So for anything on Mason, they're getting all the foot traffic anyway, so they can put a sign out in front of their business, and it's no violation of the issue.
Rob, I was going to ask you if you would just clarify for everyone here, what determines if they have to ask permission from the property owner, how far out of the property owner into the sidewalk, really? Not everyone understands that.
I will have to double check how far out the property owners own.
Generally, it's about 7 or 8 feet, right?
Yeah.
Generally.
Halfway across.
Generally to the
first the signs are not allowed in VDOT right away without their permission. I don't think they ride around patrolling for it, but if they come upon a sign in the VDOT right away, they can take the sign and issue, I think, $150 fine. But like I said, I don't think they're out riding around looking for it.
But that's also, if it's on the property owner's side, then that's not in the VDOT.
Right, if it's on the property owner side, it's VDOT can't do anything.
It might be a good idea to just be really sure where that is, so we don't have these businesses at risk of being fined.
Right.
I think there's another issue. If the sign is in front of another person's business, that is similar to the business of the person who wants that sign out there, which would be in direct conflict, you have to take.
Well,
So if you're selling apples on this corner and you're going to put the sign out
Yeah.
there, apples, now this.
If somebody comes in and puts like I said, if you put it in the VDOT right away, VDOT can take it and find the person. If you put it in front of another person's storefront and they don't want it there, it's their property, they can just take the sign off themselves. And that has nothing to do with me, that's between the two parties.
Right, I guess what I'm saying, both of them have the same type of business. So I got a sign in front of my place that's in competition with the guy down the street. So I may not like that.
Well, and in the proposal here, with permission from the property owner where the sign will be located. So, yeah, that is a consideration, but I think you always have the right to remove something from your property, whether it's in the ordinance or not. Right? I would think so, right? Yeah. Any other questions, discussion? Any objections to this?
No, is it any possibility to do it after October 7th, chicken hearing? Is it too close?
I'll check the calendar.
You could do it with two things.
Wait, 2 weeks, Luke?
Well,
2.5 weeks.
what, and then approve the new ordinance at the next town council meeting? Because we could have the
Public hearing, then go to the.
we could have the public hearing at the town council meeting for certainly for something like this. If we do it at the next town council meeting, we could have the public hearing prior to the town council meeting, and we could approve this particular ordinance, which is basically suspending something. It's not rewriting it. We can do it then.
No, keep it at the regular meeting.
All right. No further comments? Hearing no objection, this motion is passed. Thank you.
Now, would you make it known to us and to the property owner on Mason Avenue, how far the property extends? I think everyone may know, some of those that actually have fenced-in areas, they're back to the property line. Not everyone has a hole or canopies or whatever. And I think everyone needs to understand where our laws stop and where
The next item on the agenda is to schedule a public hearing for the backyard chicken ordinance. Rob, you take us through that?
As council has showed aware that the past several months, the staff and planning commission have been working out the feasibility and logistics language for a potential ordinance that would allow residents to raise a few chickens in their backyards. At the September 2nd meeting, the planning commission approved a motion to schedule a joint public hearing for the October 7th meeting. Since we've gone, just looked at chickens in depth, we thought that it would be
more about chickens than you
way
care.
more than I ever cared to know about chickens. We thought it would be more beneficial to have a joint work session prior to the public hearing to give a more in-depth look for town council at everything that we've looked at, rather than we get up here for 5 minutes, go over the report, and then we don't make a decision. So there's a lot of information that we covered very long.
So you're talking about a joint work session now, not the public hearing.
Right. I think Libby's already polled, we already talked to the planning commission, I think Libby's already polled the council on the 25th, and then the public hearing will be on the 7th of October. once it's got all the information behind it, all the research that we've done.
We're scheduling a special meeting for this on the 7th.
The 7th is the planning commission's regular meeting, and then we're going to have a joint public hearing prior to.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll have the joint public hearing, and then after that, I guess council will be, planning commission will continue the discussion and make their recommendation, and council will act on it at your regular activity meeting. The draft regulations or the draft ordinance is attached to the report, just to be a...
Senior recommendation has already being made.
What's that?
I said, it would seem your recommendation is already being made.
Well, no, this is just the draft language that the planning commission has come up with, because town council directed us to present with a draft. So we've developed the draft. The planning commission could very well recommend that we don't approve it.
So the work session, the joint work session is the 25th. The public hearing will be the 7th.
Yes.
Have we started the notice process for that public hearing?
Well, until you all approve it tonight.
No,
I was just curious if we could do the sign ordinance and everything, like move it up.
I'm okay with that.
If we got time to schedule the chicken ordinance, let's put it together with the...
You'd have to make it a special meeting to take any action. The action still wouldn't be taken until the regular.
Frank, what we can do, I agree we want to get this done as soon as possible. We still have to have a separate meeting to have a vote, so we've been having a special town council meeting for the signs.
Following the...
Yes, we would have to do that way.
Planning commission regular meeting night on the 7th.
You'd have to meet somewhere else.
Yeah, well, then, but I'm on one.
You draft it, man.
Well, couldn't the planning commission close their meeting and we continue on till we get the sign thing?
It's the planning commission's regular meeting night.
Okay, they could have a regular meeting, and as soon as it's over, we're still there, then
You're going to sit through the whole planning commission meeting?
hopefully an abbreviated one so that they notice what we're trying to do.
I don't think so.
It's enough y'all. We're going to make it
Or we go...
Well, so Frank, if you wanted to do it, we could have a special meeting on the 7th. On the 7th, we have the public hearing on the chicken ordinance, correct? Right. We can also have a public hearing on the off-premises sign modification.
Before the planning commission starts their regular meeting.
You can't vote on it.
We can't vote on it until the regular meeting. We can't vote on it until the regular meeting. I don't think it's...
You have it right before the regular meeting, or we don't.
Unless you schedule a special meeting.
Yeah,
So that's what I look for, but then
yeah.
it still ends up being done on the,
Well, unless you make that special meeting.
That's what I was getting at there. Joint public hearing / special meeting.
Yeah, make it recess, then you can have your special meeting, public hearing,
And then
take a vote.
close the council meeting on
Let
Wednesday.
it go on.
I'm okay with that.
Yep.
Okay, so
I hate to run into waters. But is this what you're gonna do for everybody who might come up? You go through all these, students, like, everybody, no, we not, we open ourselves up for criticism in the future now.
That's a good point.
You were just arguing that they weren't getting immediate enough relief.
We've been through this.
And now we're gonna be meeting anyway. I think they, supporting the merchants to make sure they're not at odds with,
Roger,
sign ordinances.
do you anticipate any issues with signs needing to be removed before the next town council meeting?
Well, you must have had something that you were, this came to your attention.
Somebody complained.
Right. You got somebody out there that doesn't like the signs.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a complaint filed.
Right. A complaint?
Yes. That's what set that ball in motion. So, I mean, if we don't want to remove the signs, then that's, you know, I don't know how legally the zoning administrator can just turn a blind eye to the zoning ordinance and violations. Especially if we're trying to enforce zoning ordinances consistently across the board to all good.
Well, if it's complaint based, I think we should just separate these two, the chicken ordinance and the other one, and have two separate meetings. And the sign ordinance and make and just wait till the next council. I don't see calling a special meeting.
That's why I tried to bring up the move along as fast as possible, but we still end up getting it the right.
But a hearing, you can, have it anytime, but
The hearing could be.
you still have to vote on it, and it has to vote on the right meeting.
Yeah, and so the question is, do we want to make an exception in this case and have a special meeting for Tom's request? Our next, when's the next town council meeting? The 16th? Which meeting?
I mean, if you want to do it sooner, the week prior to that, was it the 9th? Is a date set aside for a work session. You could meet there with a special meeting if you like to vote on it.
How does everybody feel about that?
The 9th is the night before the Burning Festival, which would be probably the last busy thing we're going to have to Christmas. So if we approve it, the signs will be up.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Because of the fall festival?
And the fall day.
And the fall festival.
Yeah. And that's,
And,
opens it up.
yeah, I think that's a concession. So, how do we modify this? We need to modify it?
You have to modify the previous, well, no, you don't have to.
No,
Because you still agreed to, what is it now?
Well, we would have,
You scheduled a public hearing
we would have the
for
regular
the
meeting.
regular October meeting, so that would have to be modified to change it to do it on October the 7th or the 9th, whichever you prefer.
Well, if we leave the joint public hearing with town council and the planning commission for the 7th, we're good for the night, and then it's a very quick meeting.
But your motion for the signs was not the joint public hearing. The joint public
Oh,
hearing
yeah.
is the sign
Yeah.
ordinances.
Well, but okay. We'll separate.
So you still need to, if you want to have the public hearing on any other date than the regular October meeting, you need to modify that. You need to redo the motion.
We should have it on the, we should have the public hearing on the 9th, and then we should have the vote.
Item 8P.
For,
Yeah.
correct.
So we need another motion. The
Let's-
second and the vote to
Let's
change
finish
that.
let's finish the chicken ordinance first. All right, and then we'll come back to this. All right, so is there any other discussion on the chicken ordinance?
Well, are you talking about October the 7th on the public hearing on the chicken, and then
Correct.
another meeting on the 9th?
Yes. It would be a quick meeting.
Yeah, I never seen a quick meeting.
You're making $40.
What?
You're making $50.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, I don't make that,
But it is a regular work session.
So we talking about chickens or something?
The 9th, the 7th.
Right.
Seventh is not.
9th is going to be signs.
But I want to finish the chicken ordinance first, and then we'll come back to the signs.
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions about the chickens.
I'll get you for this.
Language in here about hen houses must be kept clean, dry, sanitary condition all the time. Who's going to ensure that?
It'll be like other zoning ordinances, mostly, I think they're.
I mean, I was looking for the answer that you were.
Oh, yeah.
So, or is the police to be involved in this at all? No, you.
Like other zoning ordinances, the zoning administrator.
Should these questions be brought up
Yeah.
in public hearing?
We'll all get back to work session.
I'm asking
guys,
one
look,
question
this
here.
is.
You said you asked me more questions about the chicken ordinance, I'll ask
Well,
a question.
Okay,
Now,
actually,
all of a sudden, I'm delaying him, I'm asking a question, let them answer.
ask the question, but the discussion here is about whether to have a public hearing or not. And I think we, as opposed to.
Well, his answer is helping me formulate my vote on it.
Public hearing.
So the answer is the administrator is going to ensure that the chicken raising people comply with the ordinance. So you're going to see whether or not those hen houses are dry, based on complaints or based on routine inspection.
It's an inspection.
Or
you get, according to the ordinance.
They're inspected annually.
Well, they're inspected.
Annually?
It says it right here.
Okay.
Inspected annually.
And there can always be
Upon
complaints.
complaint.
And upon complaint.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any objections to scheduling this public hearing?
Yeah.
We have a motion.
Take a motion.
I made a motion. to schedule
And we
it
have a
on
second.
October 7th.
So hearing no objections, this is passed.
Who's second? Who's second?
Who said it?
Motion is passed by unanimous consent. Now, what I'd like to do is to go back to the sign ordinance. And I'll entertain a motion at a public hearing on the sign ordinance, followed by a special town council meeting to vote on the off-premises sign ordinance. Is there a motion for that?
So moved.
Second?
On
On October 9th.
Second.
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 Are there any objections to this? Hearing no objections, this is passed by unanimous consent. Finally. All right. The next order of business is the Shore Bank line of credit renewal. And Bob, you want to just outline
Yes,
this?
as you know, we have a line of credit with Shore Bank. This existed since 2011. It is up for renewal. To my knowledge, we've never drawn a line of credit, which is a good thing. Shore Bank has offered us terms, which you see there, at a variable interest rate of prime plus 0.5, but they do require a floor of 3.75%. All the other terms are as they currently exist. So we recommend adoption of the resolution authorizing the renewal of the line of credit with Shore Bank.
Okay. Is there any discussion? This is a roll call vote.
Natalie, yes.
Bannon, yes.
Brian, yes.
Linwood, yes.
Motion is passed unanimously. Next is transfer of Charter Communications cable franchise to Comcast. Just really brief.
This is I learned a lot on this one. We got a letter from Comcast requesting a transfer of Charter cable franchise. It's a pretty complicated procedure they're going through. They acquired Time Warner Cable, and with that acquisition comes a whole bunch of cable systems. So they are making a deal with Charter to swap a whole bunch of cable systems among them. Among the two entities. Well, we're the two entities since Time Warner will go away, so that they can have regional coverage and don't have to skip all around the country operating and maintaining these cable systems. The ordinance that provided the franchise to Charter Communications was passed in 2004. It has a clause in the ordinance authorizing assignment of the franchise upon approval of council, you are the franchise authority, and Time Warner Cable, unlike Bay Creek Communications, would really like to have a resolution of the council to consent to that transfer. They provided all of the required information per FCC regulations, and it's obviously a very strong company, and the resolution is attached to the consents to transfer the franchise to Comcast.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Adopt, it said adopt resolution 2014091A, transfer consent.
Make a motion.
Is there any discussion?
Yes. Charter Cable is probably the best television I've ever had, the best service I've ever had. I just see another Verizon emerging out of Vermeer. So, you got to have no choice.
I understand.
Okay. I thought I did.
Any other discussion, comments? This is a roll call vote. Steve, we'll start with you this time.
Bennett, yes.
Brian, yes.
Wendell, yes.
Natalie, yes.
Melvin, yes.
And yes.
The motion is carried by unanimously. Next is mutual aid agreement with Northampton County Sheriff's Office. Chief Pruitt, would you like to raise this one?
I'm tired. I'm tired. What? Maybe you could just tell us why we're doing this. I don't understand this. There's no language in there that mentions anybody's name. It's the mutual aid.
I mean, we do it every year. It's to benefit both agencies. If we need help, they come help us.
We'll do it every year. Since we did last year on April 24, 2012.
They requested this
Yeah.
consequence of
I can add a little bit to this. We had been trying to do this mutual aid agreement since Jack Lyman was sheriff back in 2009, 10. It never got formulated, and the mutual aid agreement was set in my file instead of his file. Commonwealth attorney got involved in it, and when we started getting cases that initiated in Cape Charles, but the arrests were being made in the county, and our officers couldn't make those arrests because we didn't have any jurisdiction in the county. State law says that if you have a mutual aid agreement, you can arrest anywhere in the county that you so, and it also takes a lot of liability when you step out of Cape Charles and go into the county, your liability goes away unless you have a mutual aid agreement with the jury. That's how it initiated. And the first one was put out last in 2012. It was signed off by the town manager and the sheriff, David Datter. But I think it's some more has come about from the Commonwealth. We want to see things to be signed by, I guess the town manager again and David Datter and make sure that everybody's on the same page. It's just
It sounds to me like it's just making work. I mean, we already have an agreement in place. It's signed by the same people.
Well, it has to be signed by when you change law enforcement officers, you have to sign a new according to the Commonwealth.
So this empowers me to have Chief Pruitt sign, or empowers?
No, the town manager still signs.
This is just, the last one was between the sheriff and Chief Ryan.
This is
Now you have
between the
your
county.
chief, so now it's between Sheriff Dowdy, who's the county sheriff, and
The town manager, because the chief administrator, that's the only reason to say.
Why is it?
Libby has a point as chief.
it wasn't, it was just on the town manager previously.
But the
Since
agreement
it's under chief.
we went through
Okay.
AML with this and everything.
Libby, what was your point?
Add strength to it, the Commonwealth attorney has said that we needed to do it by resolution, which we did not do in 2012 because there have been some legal issues because the resolution wasn't done. So that's another reason we asked us to do it.
That's the only reason.
It may well be, this is not a big deal, it's a simple vote, rather than discuss that, it's not gonna hurt anything, let's just go ahead and do it.
Includes it, local town, something.
Yeah, guys, we're kind of doing this in the wrong order, we're going to discuss after the motion, but let's have a motion, and let's go forward. Second? This again is a roll call vote. Mr. Bennett, you start.
Brennan, yes?
Natalie, yes.
Wendell, yes.
Brown, yes.
Bennett, yes.
Motion is carried. Thank you. That ends the new business. Now we're up to mayor and council comments. Before I turn it over to council for comment, I understand it's your birthday today.
It is.
Happy birthday.
I'm going through another milestone.
That would be 29?
39 whole.
39 old. When you get to a certain age, you get to go backwards.
Well, I'm trying to catch up with Chris, but you know.
Not in my IQ stage.
Well, I'm very So the way I like to do this with council comments, in the interest of not having everyone have to go first or everyone have to go last, we're going to rotate who starts and who ends. And I'll ask Libby at some point to publish a schedule so everybody knows when they're going, just so we don't get confused. And today, and by the way, I would like you to limit your comments to 5 minutes. If you don't have 5 minutes worth of comments, then you pass and your time is over. We're not going to be going back and we're not going to be engaging in debate. This is for public comment. It is not for discussion of motions or business necessarily. So I'll start with Chris. Do you have any comments? Mr. Godwin? Ms. Talley?
None.
Mr. Wendell?
Yes, Mayor Pro, I do have a public comment, but it doesn't exclude business we've just done, otherwise what, you know.
Oh, no. Doesn't exclude business we've just done. I just don't want to get involved in a debate, that's all.
This has to do with the PSA project. I mean, I was surprised to learn that all of a sudden, without any printed documentation before us, that the project had increased from 1.8 to 2.7 million dollars. And I think if without explanation of why that happened up to now, I think that's a harbinger of those of things to come. I think the project is unwise. I know I've stated that many times. And in regard to my comments at the work session about the comprehensive plan, I've yet to see in either of the counties or towns comprehensive plan where the sections become optional when somebody offers an amount of money that makes provisions in there null and void, or whether either governmental entity thinks that they can acquire revenues that make policies, standing policies in the comprehensive plan null and void based on unexpected revenues they can gain by not honoring their terms or so here we are, 1.8 to 2.7 million. I think that may, I guess I'll be curious as we go forward to hear more about that. So other than that, so I still think that's unwise, and I'll be looking forward to the chicken workshop. I think there's a lot to be vetted before we take such a agricultural intensive poultry move there. So I guess that does it. I think you've done another good job at conducting the meeting tonight.
I don't know about that. Thanks, Frank. I appreciate it.
Is Frank banking minutes? If you go to 5 minutes, are you banking minutes?
No, we're not. Don't do it. Don't start.
You had your time. You don't get it. I had nothing other than thank you for my birthday wishes.
I have only a very few things. First of all, I started office hours this past Tuesday. I'll be having office hours the second and fourth Tuesday of every month. The first Tuesday will be 2 to 4. The second Tuesday will be 6 to 8 in the evening. I also have my first town hall meeting. I think I'll probably write something up, or maybe off of some of the notes that Libby took, put that in the Gazette so you can get an idea of what people were interested in and what we talked about. There were no great surprises. And finally, relative to the invocation, I'd like to try something. I would like to try rotating the invocation through each of the council persons if they're in agreement with that. If you do not wish to give an invocation, you may have a moment of silence, as I did, and we'll just sort of pass this through each of us in turn, if you are all willing to do that. And other than that, I have no other comments. As far as announcements, we have a tentative town council work session on October 2nd. I don't know if that will actually materialize. It's going to depend on what we need to do. The Birding and Wildlife Festival is October 10 through 12. The Fall Festival, the Business Association Fall Festival, is October 11th. October 13th, the town offices are closed in observance of Columbus Day. And then October 16th, we'll have our town council regular meeting. And I don't believe there's anything else that I need to cover.
Is there a book sale going on the 10th?
Pardon?
A book sale on the 10th?
The book sale is the same day as the Birding Festival. 11. Saturday is 11.
Saturday is 11. All right, I will
Make a motion that we adjourn, Mayor.
entertain a motion to adjourn. Good job. Are there any questions? Hearing no objection,